Hello again, my name is Sofi-Gathers. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to create gathers at the shoulder. As you have seen from the sketch, that's what we're going to be doing now. As you can see in the design, we still have our waist darts in the place while somehow we created some extra intake or half of these darts moving into the shoulder and becoming gathers like this. So again, half of the dart stayed at the waistline and the other half moved at the shoulder. Let's do that. For this project, again, I'm copying my front bodice and marking the placement of the apex and drafting my dart line. So right now I can see that I have this big, huge dart right here, and I'm planning half of this dart to be moved into the shoulder to become something different than darts, but gathers. So now with this project, we're going to learn how to make the dart into something different, something else. Here's how we do it. I would like you to divide your shoulder in half. You can eye it and connect that point to the apex, and then measure 1 inch down and 1 inch up from that center position and connect those points to the apex as well. Right now I am going to draft my slash lines that are going to help me to move half of this waistline dart to the shoulder. As you can see, I'm using slash and spread technique to do this. So again, I am going to cut the dart to start with like this, and I am going to slash all of these red lines all the way to the apex. Try not to cut through again. Okay, so here you can see that my dart is out and all 3 lines are slashed. Now I'm going to, first of all, fix my center front part to the paper so I can adjust my darts and my gathers. Now, since this is already secured, here's what we do. Can you see if that my dart was pretty big? I am going to close halfway like this. Say come up with half an inch and a half dart if you want. So this is half of my intake, and I'm going to be securing that half a dart in the place, and I am going to adjust my pieces nice and flat like this. You have to make sure that you don't get puckers. The whole entire pattern has to be, entire shoulder has to be straight and smooth. So I'm going to make them flat. In case your sections are not precisely the same or even, don't worry, because again, this is not, those are not darts. This is just gathers that I'm making, meaning I'm not going to fold them, I'm not going to come up with dart tails or anything like that. So let's secure the rest of the pattern also. Okay, here. So first of all, let's finalize this dart, because this is going to go 1 inch short. So I come up with a dome shape dart, not a cone shape one. Here's my new dart. And at the shoulder, I am going to come up with new kind of shoulder. As you can see here, my shoulder obviously got broken because when we do any type of dart manipulation, we break that particular side of the pattern. But in this case, because I slashed and opened the shoulder, as you can see, my shoulder is looking curvier. That's the way it should look, by the way. Here's what I do. When I come up with this type of shapes, what I need to do is connect the tips of those sticking out paper pieces, which guide me how to draft that line. As you can see, I connected all the tips of those broken pieces, and when I'm finally at the shoulder neck area, I'm going to flip my French curve, place it that way, and bring my curvy line and connect it, blend it with my shoulder neckline. So I'm not adding anything and I'm not subtracting anything. As you can see, my shoulder is kind of curvy, but that's the way it is, because after I gather, it is going to go and sit right on top of the shoulder. So that's what we need to do. Now, I am done with the gathered area of the shoulder. Now let's go back to the waistline darts. Before I start adding my seam allowances and finalizing my pattern, obviously I need to fold my dart because this is a new dart which doesn't have a dart tail yet. So crease the leg, hold your fingertip right at the tip of the dart, let the paper be, don't crush it, and secure it temporarily. You are going to double check to see if this line of the pattern is broken, because that's a possibility. Also, I'm just double checking by placing my ruler this way, right in that area. So it looks okay. Then I am going to add my 1/2 inch seam allowance while my dart is sitting folded right there. And with my hip curve, I am going to smooth my line again one more time so I can cut my seam allowance nice and smooth with that beautiful curve. And I'm going to cut my seam allowance like this, which will help me to come up with my new dart tail. I'm not going to cut out this dart is because it's a small dart. It's okay to just leave it like this. All I have to do now to add the seam allowances and finalize my pattern. In order for me to be able to describe how this gathered shoulder is going to work, right now I placed it against the shoulder of the back bodice that you see here. On the back bodice shoulder, usually we have a dart. This dart gets sewn closed, which means when we make garment, the shoulder becomes even shorter, like 1/2 inch shorter. So if you put that short measurement against this shoulder, you can see that this shoulder is fairly wide. So what do? We gather this to go and be equal to the back shoulder. So that's how that gather is going to happen, like this. As you can see, I placed the pattern on the dress form so you can even more clearly see what we came up with. As you can see, I gathered the gathers here and pushed the gathers towards the center of the shoulder. That's why I have a notch right there, 1/2 inch away from the neckline and 1/2 inch away from the shoulder tip, saying that these gathers will stay from this notch to this notch. Actually, these notches are called gather control notches. And the gathers should not get to the neckline is because they would not look right. Also, we attach collars in here. We don't want all that excess fabric to get trapped in the neckline treatment, neither we want it to get into our sleeve setup. So that's why I put 1/2 inch away, I put a notch, and then notch, and again, those notches are called gather control notches that actually eliminate the gather spread on the shoulder. And as you can see, the gathers are aiming towards the apex and the dart is folded close. And this concludes my demonstration of gathers at the shoulder. Have fun with your pattern. See you next time.